Jesse Rogers with me in ensuring that these conversations continue. But right now we're talking about education. We are into the education sector, and here we're talking about the fate of intern teachers. Where are we with that? A lot of conversation. They want autonomy. Did they achieve that? Permanent and pensionable terms. Where are we with that? In terms of a syllabus, ensuring that they're able to deliver on their mandates. Where are we with that? Have the discussion. Nehemiah Kipkorir, National Chairperson of Interns Kenya. Karibu sana Nehemiah. As well as Mark Wambua, who is the Nairobi County Chairperson of Interns. Karibu sana. So now we want to go virtually, right? As we came back from Djibouti. Yeah, we go to different African country every week. So we just came back from Djibouti, a beautiful country. We witnessed the election. The new president has been voted in for the sixth time. You know, a beautiful country, super hot. Their biggest resource is their port. They use that to service a country like Ethiopia that is landlocked. They are the home to the US military base as well, which also helps in terms of security as well. However, you know, in Kenya we say media is free. In Djibouti, their version of media is state controlled. So maybe we should exchange notes to see how they open this space, right? But let's talk about the proverb at this morning. So now proverb says, people are bones and blood, but diversity is beauty. People are bones and blood, but diversity is beauty. Nehemiah, how would you interpret that?
Thank you for getting this chance. I'm called Nehemiah Kipkorir. I'm the national chair for the interns, teachers in this republic. Maybe before we go on, I would just want to just repeat the...
People are bones and blood, but diversity is beauty. People are bones and blood, but diversity is beauty. How would you interpret it?
People are
bloods and bones, but diversity is beauty.
Okay. Diversity is when I interpret that, people are blood and bones, and diversity is beauty. I think you're trying to embrace different ideologies when it comes to, when you say diversity is bring different ideas. Maybe when it comes to this issue of internship, maybe what I may say is about you're trying to compare the internship in this republic and maybe is it happening in the other countries, something like that. I think the idea of internship, I don't think has been okay in our republic.
Just interpret it. You're not wrong. Your interpretation is fine.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm just saying, actually, the diversity is beauty. At all in our lives, when we have different ideologies, when you have different directions, it really helps.
It really helps.
Yes.
How would you interpret it, Mark?
Thank you. I will interpret it in terms of when we come together in different versions, we bring whatever you say, ideas together. We also build a society. Definitely human beings, the anatomy, the structure of human beings is the same. Blood, only that we have different blood groups. But we are made of blood and bones.
Yeah.
But now when we bring different people from different parts of the world, we can have variety of ideas. We can have new innovations, and that is whereby we say we are the beauty in humanity is that when we have variety of people, we have the best from one. All together, we attain the best.
Yeah.
The beauty is being incorporating different people from different parts of the world.
Yeah, you know, in African setting, we'd say Ubuntu. You know, you are because I am. So our differences, our different foods, our cultures brought together makes us be the beautiful citizens of the world, one would say, you know. Beautiful. But let's get into the conversation, the fate of intern teachers. I just have a simple question, right? We have wanted for autonomy for a very long time, permanent and pensionable terms. We want more teachers to be added into the curriculum. We want more retooling to happen for our teachers. What have we achieved thus far when it comes to intern teachers and issuing their services to the children of the Republic of Saridima?
Thank you. I can split down that question into two phases. Phase one is the delivery of our services. Then phase two will be the award now, or what the government now offers for the same services we are offering.
Okay.
Yeah, and I will say that in junior school, we have intern teachers, and we have those who have already entered into permanent and pensionable terms.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, in the situation we have, we offer the same services and equally to those in PNP. So I can say in the internship and in other words, in junior school, the services we offer are not distinguished in terms of this is an intern and this is a PNP. We offer equal. And sometimes you can go ahead, you will find that you offer even more than the one who are in permanent and pensionable terms. So the services we offer, we are doing it at our level best. But now, when I join these with what now the services the government are rendering to us for the purpose of our services to the students, that is where now we have a problem. Because you find that we are offering a lot. We have been doing this for a year, the whole of 2025, up to now. And you find that we have been doing our best. But now when it comes to the government, after we do equal task to those who are in permanent and pensionable terms, the reward is now very much different to them.
But by meaning a reward, that
what
is in
I mean
terms of
reward,
salaries.
yeah, I mean remuneration.
Yes.
Actually, we do not have remuneration for ourselves. We have what is called a stipend, because the government through TSC says that the interns are not accorded same terms as equal to the PNP, permanent jobs, employees. In that, they give us a stipend so that we just survive.
Tell us a stipend of how much and how would you compare that with
The stipend is for 17,000 after taxes. Yeah, and that is now what we get monthly. That one doesn't have medical cover. It's just a stipend to make you survive.
Okay.
Okay, maybe to add on that, you've said how far have we achieved? When we take this issue of CPC, the competency-based education, basically from 2022, it was implemented in the year 2022-2023. And as the topic, the discussion today is actually the fate of intern teachers. Basically, we came here to expound more on these intern teachers, the life that they are passing through in those schools back there we are teaching, and how the government have acted on this internship, and even how the court have also replied. And maybe when I just add on what you said, at what percentage have we achieved when it comes to autonomy and the rest? Basically, I can tell you there is a lot in those schools. Actually, we call it Kautine. Those when the government brought the CPE, when it brought the grade 7 to grade 9, that is junior school, they domicile it to primary level, to primary schools. And mind you, these primary schools, most of them are public schools, whereby even the accommodation itself for these teachers is a bit problem. So you'll find that a teacher is forced to use fare to and fro to school every morning, every evening, and also using fare, they go and rent a house, which basically around an average of around 5,000 to 8,000, depending on which place that are you teaching from. So these intern teachers, when you see us maybe talking about the problems, the challenges that we are passing through, is that one, you use fare. you are given a remuneration. Actually, it's a stipend. When you check on the internship program, it is saying it is a non-remunerative program. And that is why even the court itself has pronounced that this thing is illegal. It is not supposed to be done. Why? It is violating Article 41 of the Kenyan Constitution that guarantees every worker in this republic for a fair pay, for also a fair working condition. You can imagine you are working in a station whereby you may not be in a position to be in good relationship with the head of institution. Most of these, there is that poor relationship with most of the head of institutions with their junior school teachers. So you'll find that you go there, a teacher is having average of 30 to 42 lessons in a week. 30 to 42 lessons, these intern teachers. Now, in these lessons, they teach equivalently to that person who is under the permanent and pensionable terms. When it comes to pay at the end of the month, someone is going with around 47,000 home, and someone is going with around
Nehemiah, I have a question.
Yes.
I have a question. As intern teachers, by the time you're being given these contracts by TSC, right? It's TSC. When you're being given these contracts by TSC, what is stipulated on the contract that you append your signature on? Are you aware of what it is you're getting yourself into from the word go?
Thank you. Thank you for that question. When we are engaged in this internship, when you try to trace the history of this internship, under Article 237 of the Kenyan Constitution, it guarantees the Teacher Service Commission to employ, to recruit, to manage the teachers. So, actually, these teachers, they have undergo a very successful training for 4 years in the university, and again they went to another attachment of a term for an attachment. Then now they graduate, they register as Teacher Service Commission members, getting a Teacher Service Commission's number. Now, the Article 237 of the Kenyan Constitution guarantees a teacher who is registered under Teacher Service Commission to be employed directly on permanent and pension.
Therefore, you can also chime in. Therefore, by the time you are being given the document to append your signature on as your contract, you as an intern teacher, you very well together with TSC know very well that you are breaking the law at that point, because according to the Constitution, once you have the TSC number, all that is needed for you to do is to be employed as a teacher on permanent and pensionable terms. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Now, let me respond that.
Yes, and then you chime in.
Thank you. So, when we come to the reality in the ground is that when these teachers are graduate, most of us, we've gone under POM terms. We've taught, someone have taught around 3 to 5 years. Now, the government used the idea of there's a pool of teachers out there who are unemployed, and also there is understaffing in these public schools, and that is why they use that chance to advertise the slots under internship and not on permanent and pensionable. And mind you, the reason why these teachers are finding themselves inside these internship bases is because there is this economic duress. You'll find that according to the Teacher Service Commission, you need to pass through this internship, you will get a 50% marks. That is where these teachers find the trap inside this internship. That if you don't pass through this internship, then you will fail to get that 50 marks when it comes to the interview for the permanent and pensionable task.
Is it a requirement for teachers to go through internship for them to get into employment? Is it a requirement? No.
No, it's not.
Once you get your TSC number, you
are
ought to be
eligible to teach.
You are once you have a TSC number, you're eligible to teach. There is nothing like internship.
No.
Because already you've gone through the BOM and everything
teaching
else.
Practice.
Teaching practice, right? Therefore, I again repeat, I have given you a contract to sign as an intern teacher. Right? Yet you have a TSC number. At that particular point, the government of Kenya, TSC, is participating an illegality, knowing very well it is wrong. That by the time you as an intern teacher, you as a teacher, you are signing as well to be an intern, you're equally breaking the law. Correct?
Okay. Now, what I can say, and I can second Kipkorir, they have put it in a way that internship is like now the only way to PNP.
But it's illegal.
And it's illegal.
Okay.
And now that the government already, through the court, has declared it null and void, is again very much illegal. And now that is why we are saying, remember whatever the petition was filed in, it was 2024 by the old interns. We normally call them the senior moguls. So already they had served for 2 years, and now they filed a petition to illegalize the internship. Now it has been termed already illegal. So you find that even the government now has broken like the rule in twice, because we have already served in illegality. Once you get the internship, that is a PNP job, they won't compensate you for the time now you did as intern, which was illegal. So this, whatever, if I can answer now your question, whatever is forcing these teachers to enroll themselves under internship program is that this program has been given some terms which force the teachers now to accept to sign it. For example, whatever you have said, through internship you get 50 marks in case any role for permanent emerges. So you find that unless you go through internship, you can't get the 50 marks, which will give you higher chances to qualify for the permanent job. And number two, whatever you have said, again, the government has violated the agreement. The agreement we signed for internship was for only 1 year. But once it ended, they added one more year. So we are serving now the second year of an illegal contract with illegal terms. And the way they put it in that way that when you are signing it, and when you are now again resigning it for the second time, it is either you sign or you terminate, and once you terminate, you are off. Yes.
We saw the Court of Appeal ruling that was recent, declaring TSC internship program for 44,000 junior school teachers illegal and unconstitutional. Two questions, and we'll start. What was the response from TSC after this particular Court of Appeal ruling? Did they show intention to align, or is there a clear disregard of this court order?
Thank you. And I like the question because it is just very clear. There is no clear regard of that of the court order. Up to now, we have not been given a clear guideline of when should we be signing these permanent and pensionable terms. We are only seeing just rumors all over that there's a new budget which is likely to cover the 20,000 senior interns, yet there are other 24,000 who came in January, who we don't know even their fate. Again, why should we wait for a budget coming in July, and yet we are the schools are opening on 27? Meaning, in May, we will be serving as interns, waiting for unclear government decision, which we don't know whether it will happen or they will wait for. We wait for what we don't know.
Okay, and when we're speaking about the budget, the supplementary budget that was passed just recently approved an additional 24.2 billion shillings to the Teacher Service Commission to address urgent financing gaps in the education sector, which would assume is teacher promotions and moving the intern teachers from internship to permanent and pensionable. Has there been any talk so far as to tumepata hii pesa kwa supplementary na inafaa kuenda kusaidia our intern teachers wa transition? TSC, has it committed?
Okay, let me just respond to that. Before I respond to that, I take you back to the recent verdict on the Court of Appeal. It was on 27th of February 2026. That was the time the Court of Appeal was declaring the verdict. And when you link it with this, the recently budget which was ascended by the president of 24 billion, it clearly tells you the directions that the Teacher Service Commission is taking on these interns. It's clearly tell you, because the Court of Appeal's verdict came before the supplementary. But mind you, when you check the constituents, the content of that 24 billion, they say that there is this, up to now, teachers who have been engaged in internship in January of this year, they have never gone to any retooling. They're just there. They have never gone to any retooling. So, and us who have gone in 2025, actually we had only one retooling session. Yeah. So you find there is a lot of challenges that is facing the Teacher Service Commission when it comes to money. And I don't know if this factor of confirmation of the interns is being factored in with this supplementary budget. They talked about there is a lot of administrative activities that needs money, that needs this 24.3 billion. There is this retooling. Actually, there is the issue of share. Most hospitals are actually owing the government. The government owes the most of hospitals in these terms of share. So you'll find this 24 billion, there is nothing like confirmation of these intern teachers. Now they were promising us, the government was promising that in the the national budget that is ought to come out in this July, we shall be factored out. And actually, they have talked about, initially, they talked about the confirmation of the 20,000 intern teachers. That is us, who are employed in 2025. Okay. But as we talk, we have 44,000 intern teachers in actually working in these stations. So the Court of Appeal have really talked about this, and it has really factored this out, the injustice and the discrimination in terms of this internship, whereby all the 44,000 intern teachers now have equal rights for these permanent and pensionable terms immediately, should not delay anymore. For the plan of the executive, for the plan of the government, it was for every other teacher to undergo the internship for 2 years, and then from there they become absorbed to permanent and pensionable terms. That was their plan. And also, when I talk about this issue, it really violates Article 249 of the Kenyan Constitution. Remember, Article 249 of the Kenyan Constitution guarantees every other commission, like this commission, Teacher Service Commission, every commission in this country, they are given the freedom to undergo, to decide, to do decision making, to do anything, all the operations within their jurisdiction without the interfere of the executive. But we was very surprised because the president himself in Kitui last year, when he was in a state lodge, he talked about the internship that we have sat down and we have agreed as a government policy that it is 2 years. Then we were wondering, where have they sat? Have they sat with the Teacher Service Commission or the Presidential Task Force on Education Matters? So we don't know. It was interfered. The 2-year policy came from the president, which is actually violating the right of this Kenyan teacher who has really suffered for 4 years, paying school fees in the university, and now they are being brought back to come and engage in a full 2-year internship. Let me tell you, these people have young families. These people have dependents. And when you check the 17,000, I just wondered maybe before I talked about the 17,000. If I may tell you, these schools that we are teaching there, one, we contribute lunch. All these public schools, we contribute lunch as teachers for you to eat in those schools. We give roughly around 1,500 to 1,700, 1,700.
Per month, yeah.
Per month. I'm giving you a budget of a month for you to understand why these teachers are coming out to maybe air out their grievances and say, government, may you appreciate us because of this internship we have done. They pay lunch, 1,500. They pay fare, transport from their houses to school, to and fro. Roughly, let me talk about myself. I live in a place where I go to school using 150 shillings. I live in Mazeras town, and I'm teaching a school called Chikomani in Kwale County. When you check that, I pay 150 shillings in the morning and 150 shillings in the evening. Others, they may have secured a room near the school. They pay 100 shillings. When you check, 150, that is 300. 300, yeah. Multiplied by around, let's say, 24 days or 25 days. That's roughly 7,500 going to transport. When you add 1,500, it becomes 9,000. Now, we have rent. In this, like this Nairobi.
Yeah.
Nairobi, a very cheap house is maybe 6,500 or 7,000 or maybe 6,000. But in remote areas, you may get that it is around 5,000. So average, let's say rent is average 5,000 everywhere in this country.
14,
now,
okay.
when that will be 5,000 plus 9 is 14,000. Now, remember, our internship doesn't have medical cover. I want you to understand that. In fact, you are going to take an insurance cover. When you are engaging in this internship, you go to a bank, they give you an insurance cover to cover you for that period of your internship. So you will find that in a month, maybe when you are sick, you use average of 1,000 shillings for a medical bill. 14,000 plus 1,000 becomes 15,000. Now tell me, you have 17,000, you have spent 15,000. Now, at that point, you've not factor in the breakfast that you will take. You will not factor in the supper.
Yeah.
And you've not taken in, you've talked about the budget of one person, you.
Yeah.
If you have a family, the whole month, I'm telling you, these intern teachers, they are actually under financial constraints. They have taken loans everywhere, including the Okwachas. You'll find that these teachers have huge Okwachas. They have not even paid.
Yeah.
They have a Senka, this Tala, every other thing. So actually, basically, we are asking the government, if the government is having the heart, actually the human heart, let them appreciate these teachers. We have done the internship for 15 months, and the others have done for 5 months.
Let me bring in Mark. Mm-hmm. Mark has painted the real situation, as many would say, kwa ground. Venye vitu ziko kwa ground.
Yeah.
Yet here we have a situation where the government of Kenya, the president, the executive, is involving himself in issues that he shouldn't. The president should not be speaking on behalf of TSC. TSC should be speaking.
It is independent.
Independent, right? Yeah. And then here we have a court order. Court order is law that has said this biashara of intern teachers is illegal.
Yeah.
Employ teachers on permanent and pensionable terms. I therefore ask the question because I'm assuming you're registered to a union. That would be KUPPET, whichever union you are in. I ask two questions. From where you sit, do you feel as if there is political interference when it comes to sorting out issues to do with teachers and their employment? Because the law is clear that once you have a TSC number, you ought to be employed on permanent and pensionable. There is equally the position that the court has already addressed itself on the same on what ought to be done.
Yeah.
That as well as the position of TSC and what it ought to do as a commission that is independent and the executive now getting involved. Is there political interference? And how is political interference affecting TAC from giving teachers what they deserve?
Thank you. One thing we say, and it's a very good question, because, and I've been championing for this affair or this scenario whereby the government politicizes a sector as important as education. Nowadays, TSC, we can't say it is independent because the president, for example, the other day you saw he only directed the TSC to take in permanent and pensionable terms 50 teachers, the Corino teachers, in PNP terms. That's our president directed the already an independent institution, that is TSC, to employ that is teachers from a certain maybe denomination in PNP terms. In a working system, education, and that is TSC, should be politicized.
Yeah.
Number two, whatever Kipkorir said again, when we were renewing this internship, the president sat down. He only said that now we agreed for, they will again serve for 2 years, not again 1 year. And now the TSC had no other option. So you find that education is never now again an independent sector. TSC is not an independent institution.
Before you continue,
yes,
doesn't You said that TSC does not have an option. It's an independent institution.
Yes.
Is it that they do not have an option, or they choose not to have an option?
From, for example, now, let me give you that example again. The president has already directed the TSC to acquire those teachers in PNP terms. Do you think they will they will reject?
They should be able to say no.
Yeah, they should be able to say no. But in reality, those people will go to schools. Again, I'm also not defending TSC, because in those our schools, we have been seeing teachers entering into our schools for PNP jobs. Yet we are serving as interns. There is no recruitment which has been called for to acquire new PNP teachers, but we see new colleagues coming with PNP, that is in PNP terms, yes, for PNP jobs. And yet we are serving as interns. So that is why I say the TSC, first of all, is compromised, because even the MPs, lastly, they were dashing out PNP contracts all over, even in burial ceremonies. Then you ask yourself now, the TSC, first of all, I don't know which what they do. You can see, you are just seated there, you see people coming for jobs. There's no recruitment happening, and you are serving as intern. Again, you see a politician, an MP, giving out letters. So it is something whereby it's a situation whereby the government is involved to compromise the TSC, and the TSC is internally also compromised in such a way that, again, we can't have a clear employment structure. That is why we can see some people in internship and others in coming as PNP. It is very much political.
You've been on the streets.
Maybe,
what happened?
Yeah.
What happened after the industrial action? What assurances were given that have been reneged so far? Because we've had President Ruto talk about, is it hiring over 70,000 teachers in 3 years? So there's so much emphasis on perhaps bettering the education sector and meeting that student-pupil ratio. So when you're told there's no budget, do you buy that argument, or is the government prioritizing other needs over your needs as intern teachers? Yeah.
Let me respond to that. You've said that. I just want to correct you first on the issue of hiring teachers, and let me make it this clear to the nation, to people in the Republic of Kenya.
Yeah.
There is this notion of the president going around talking about, I've hired 100,000 teachers. Sincerely speaking, he has hired 56,000 teachers. And just a minute, I'll take you through that. In 2023, he hired 10,000 teachers on permanent and pensionable when the CPC started. That is 10,000. And later, he hired 26,000 teachers on internship basis. That is in 2023, February. Bringing the teachers to 36,000. In 2023, July, he also advertised another interns, 20,000 of them, bringing the teachers to 56. Now, in that 56, last year, 2025, January, the first 26,000 teachers and the second cohort of 20,000 teachers were both of them, 46,000, hired on permanent and pensionable. So making the number to 56,000 teachers hired on permanent and pensionable. When it comes to our slot, because this is the third slot, our slot we were hired on internship basis, 20,000 of us, taking the number from 56 to 76. But remember, we are on internship basis.
Yes.
Now, recently, they took another 24, taking 76,000 to plus 24,000 become hundreds. But now, these 100,000 teachers, 56,000 teachers are on permanent and pensionable, and 44,000 teachers are on internship program. So I wanted to correct that so that we understand. Number two, when you talk about the issue of having the budget, okay, there is no money. Let me expound on this. You know, we are very worried, and we as the teachers are asking ourselves a lot of unanswered questions. Why? The office of the president in a day uses 8 million shillings. And it is evident.
Yes.
It is known in the Republic. It is known. 8 million shillings in a day spent on transport and whatever and whatever. Renovation of state houses nearly every day, taking billions of money. You know what I could just say is that the education sector should be given the priority. Teachers should be given their dignity. Actually, you know, teachers are the people that prepare us tomorrow. You know, we are the implementers of this new curriculum that is CPC. So we are supposed to be accorded that respect so that they may be assured that the education sector, these learners, the Kenyan learner, the Kenyan ordinary learner can receive the quality and the quality education that a person should have in life. Because I'm telling you, if these teachers are actually, even you go to class, a student tells you, Mwalimu, they embarrass you. Some of the teachers even they fail to buy some new clothes. Why? Because there is this basic need that they need to address rather than buying these clothes. So I just wanted to say basically that government has money. It is evident because recently the president has sent around 24 billion to this sector. And mind you, this 24 billion, the confirmation of the intern teachers, I think is not there. And that is the reason why it has triggered us to give us the next move as these intern teachers. Yeah. We are saying we are not going back to class in 27.
In this
27th, teachers have said enough is enough. The court has told us it is illegal, and we are the implementers of what is in the constitution, and we are the citizens that we are legally abiding citizens. The court have said it is illegal. Why do I go to school to do something?
What's the ministry saying? Because at times we see action when industrial action has already happened. That's when they're trying to make sure these teachers go back to class. Now that you've seen the Court of Appeal ruling, I'm pretty sure the ministry TSC is in copy of this. Is there any semblance of progress in terms of bringing you to the table to at least talk and find a way forward?
Yeah. What we listened from Professor Bitok the other day, he responded that and even the Minister of Education, they said we had planned and organized for the 20,000 teachers employed on 2025 January who are going to complete their 2 years to employ them on permanent and pensionable come January. Yeah. Using the national budget that is coming on July. Meaning the 24,000 teachers, according to the government, they want to take them for another 1 year. Okay, after this year, they will be taken to a contract extension for another 1 year. That is the plan of the government. But now the Court of Appeal is very clear. It has stick to the constitution that these teachers should be confirmed and should be taken into permanent and pensionable because internship is illegal. So what is basically the government have said, they have said that we had intended to employ the 20,000 teachers. We are trying to look for money. We have not seen a clear guideline. And that is the reason why we are giving us as the teachers, the 44,000 teachers. We are saying ours is that we will not go back to class until we sign the permanent and pensionable
terms.
Yes.
Mark, I want to look at, in your class, how many students do you have?
Okay, in my class, I have 66 students. That is one stream.
One stream.
But we have 4 streamed.
How many classes do you have in a week?
In a week, I have 31 lessons.
31 lessons.
Yes.
So from just the stats that you've given, that the class that you're teaching is a lot of students according to the guidelines. The number of students you have are many.
Yeah, they are very many.
Outside the guidelines.
Yeah.
So that means that you as a single teacher teaching around, you said 60?
66. That's one stream.
The one stream.
Out of 4.
Out of 4.
Yeah.
So let's just use that single stream. A single teacher is dealing with 64.
66 learners.
66 learners, right? This now speaks to the quality of education that these children get, and a teacher as well getting burnt out, because when you talk about CBE is personalized. You're supposed to come to me, Aseto, and show me the ropes. So we're talking about you as a single teacher in a lesson of, say, 1 hour, going through 66 students. That just doesn't make sense. So here we are not just speaking in terms of CBE or the teacher availability in school in terms of permanent and pensionable, but you're talking about having enough numbers of teachers in schools who would be able to deliver, that the government of Kenya needs to, because we're talking about, the government says it's 100,000, we're talking about 56,000, but even the 56,000 teachers that you're talking that are available right now are not enough to meet the demands of all the children in the republic today. So even as you speak right now, the teachers already are burnt out because of the numbers they are dealing with. And we talk about the political discourse that is there, and executive, we have TSC. I want to ask you guys a question. Has TSC and the ministry let the intern teachers, I'll not call you intern teachers, have they let you teachers down? Because they know what the law says, they know what the Court of Appeal has said. It's only that they have ceded their power to the executive, because they are an independent institution that should be able to stand strong and say, we are an independent institution. This is what the law says. We will implement the law and not allow ourselves to be directed by the executive. Has TSC let you teachers down?
Yeah, I can say it has, by a big chance. TSC does, as not as the employer of teachers, has not stood for the teachers, because whatever you are saying, they have not stood for their independence. They are led themselves to be controlled by the executive. Again, there's something I want to go back into about the kind of condition, or that is the situation we have in those schools, about numbers, and about, I want to also talk about the mental space. That is the mental situation and the condition of the teachers, based on the workload they are handling. And again, we come again to the stipends and the services they are getting from the TSC as the employer. Handling 66 learners, and yet you are in debt. Every now and then you are in debt. You are handling 66 learners. And there's something I want you people to come into terms with. In campus, for all graduates, that's the graduates of any university who are done education, they are only taught that they specify in 2 main subjects. For instance, you find for myself, I specialized in biology and chemistry. But in these schools, because of lack of enough teachers, we now handle even Kiswahili. A teacher who went and did chemistry and biology, anafunza ngeli ya hawa, ngeli ya pakumu. Those are the things.
Because under CBE, teachers are specialized to handle specific subjects. Yes.
Exactly. But now we have been, we are now in a situation whereby we are serving even now those subjects we never specified in the university, because there's not enough teachers. And the teachers now who are there, who have been given internship program there, are still under remunerated. They are under stipend. So this person is facing 2 big challenges. Number one, you have the challenge of familiarizing yourself with concepts which are new to you.
Yeah.
And number two, what I say, you are in debt. It is now, and that's why now we are saying the quality, even if the government might be so much in disobedient to what we want, but there's one thing they must obey, that the quality those learners will be getting will be substandard. Because first of all, the teacher will teach them is not mentally okay because of debts. Number two, there are not enough teachers there. When you say they hired 100,000, we are not hired ourselves as in terms of full, that is full-time employees. We are all, they call it volunteer. We are volunteers over there. So for us, we are not employed. We are just there to assist. And now, when we are in a situation like that, your mentor status with that very little salary, with that whatever you say. First of all, let me even remind you people something, that the new interns, some of them have only been paid for 1 month since January. A single month since January. They got 17,000. For 4 months, only 1 month has been paid.
Wait, so you're saying you are underpaid?
You are
but
underpaid.
Even the stipend that you're supposed to get does not get to you on time.
Yes, for especially the new ones. For us, the old ones, we have been getting it. But the new ones, there are even others who are complaining they have not gotten even a single stipend. So what is the mental status of the teachers? Do the government worry about the mental status of the teachers now in relation to the students they are teaching? If a teacher is not in a position to be stable, and is handling 66 learners, what is the safety of the learners that the teacher is handling? Do the government ask themselves, then, what quality of education are we offering to our learners? That now they are fixing us into a situation whereby, and now they bring what we call some threats. You'll hear that they say that we will issue you with shock letters. You have not shown up for your duty. When we go for industrial actions, they will bring threats. But we are saying whatever the chairman is saying, we are saying that this thing, come 27, we won't open the schools because we want to be genuine citizens. When you go to that classroom, you know that you are serving students in the best way possible because you are good, you are in a good state of mind.
To add on that, it is very embarrassing. It is very frustrating. I've been called as the national chairman. I have received several calls from the teachers in this republic. And I'll not mention the names. One is from Transoia, others from Central, others from... There is even one lady who called me and she told me she's under depression. These new interns, the 24,000 interns, I'm telling you, of almost 40% have not received a pay since January. And mind you, they were taken through that process of recruitment in last year. They signed everything last year. They were given their schools last year. Until now, they report on January. Now, my question, I'm asking myself, today is on 14th of April 2026. Someone has not received even a single coin from January up to today, 14th of April. And this person needs to eat. He or she needs to travel to and from school. He or she needs to attend to his or her personal life and dependence. You know, they have kids to, their siblings to take to school. And actually, when those people called me, I tend to think about this government. You know, sometimes we are not saying that when you see us in the streets, you don't misquote us. Because if we are not genuine and teachers who have been doing this thing voluntarily and willingly, we could have not done this in the last 15 months. We've done it for 15 months despite all these challenges. But now, we're asking the government, please, this stipend for these teachers, let it be given. Let them get the stipend. The 17,000 we are talking about for the last, from January up to April. Someone have not received even a single. Number two, the issue of this internship, even the reason why the court is against this internship is because it brings the issues of discrimination. Discrimination in terms of job seeking. By the way, even when you check the structure of how the employment, how the recruitment of the interns and how people have been converted to P&B, it will really tells you about the discrimination that is in this internship. Article 27 of the Kenyan Constitution guarantees every other worker to equal rights of employment, to equal rights and without favor, without discrimination. But this internship, you find that the first cohort went for 2 years. The second cohort that was hired in 2024 went for only 1 year. Us, which is the third cohort, we have now in the second year of our contract, and the other new interns are in their first year. You will find we may all be confirmed together, and also the other one, they were confirmed together despite the period that they were. So it brings the issues of discrimination. It brings the issues of unfairness, and that is the reason why we are saying it violates nearly all the articles that talks about the human rights when it comes to teachers. The Article 27. So we are trying to request the government. We have done willingly for the last 15 months. We have been implementers of the CPC. By the way, there is something I want to say. And there is a fact that you people need to know in this Republic of Kenya. For the first cohort of 2023, the second cohort of 2024, the third cohort, which is us 2025, and the fourth cohort, which was employed in 2026, I'm giving you the structure. When you hear in the streets that we say, no confirmation, no science next year. No confirmation, no science. We mean next term. We mean this. The third cohort and the fourth cohort are science teachers. I am a mathematics and chemistry teacher. These teachers who are employed, the 20,000 of us and the 24,000 of us, are science teachers. Both of them. The first cohort, it was very free. They gave us 65 marks as science teachers, and this is why that cohort absorbed the science teachers in our. But in the previous one, that was the first and the second. It was free. The arts teachers, the technical science, the technical subjects teachers, they just got into the system. So, as we talk in our schools, in our public schools, you find this third cohort, which is ours, and the fourth cohort, the newly recruited teachers, they are the science teachers. We teach integrated science. There is no labs in our schools.
Yes.
we improvise. We are trying. Even the government, let it come to the ground and see what is going on. We are trying our level best to make sure that these science have been imparted to these Kenyan learners. But we're not requesting them. Confirm these teachers if you want this CPC to be implemented well. Going forward, the science should be checked into.
We're running short of time. Just ask you a question, Jesse.
I think it was just a comment. Just hearing from the teachers, it seems the government's priorities are misplaced. Because how do you tell teachers there's no money, yet you don't implement austerity measures, yet they're seeing the spending in State House and in the Deputy President's office going up. So we definitely need to get our priorities right. Teachers deserve dignity. So umewape 17,000 bado walipi hiyo. Na wakipigania their right for P&P.
You want to fire them.
Court, you want to fire them. I think it's time we stand with teachers.
And I think closing comments as well would be, let's just be honest here. We want to thank you, teachers, for an amazing job you're doing. It takes bold individuals to come out to speak the way you're speaking. You've painted the real picture of what is happening and where we are in terms of respecting the law, in terms of the commission doing what it ought to do, the government of Kenya standing out for teachers. Because we're talking about I don't know how your mental health is. I hope that you guys get assistance because, it is critical. We're talking about a quality of education to the children of this republic. Government of Kenya, TAC, Ministry of Education. Kazi Kwenye, I want to thank you, gentlemen, for coming here and sharing your views with Wananchi this morning. The fate of teachers interns. Mark Wambua is Nairobi County Chairperson of Interns, Asante Sana, and Nehemiah Kipkorir, National Chairperson of Interns in Kenya. Kenyans, mumesikia, what you do with that information is really, really critical. Unfortunately, time is not on our side, but we thank you. This conversation definitely must continue.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.